Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here and welcome to my guide to Holminster Switch, a level 71 dungeon in the Shadowbringers main scenario. If you're watching this and it's your first time doing the dungeon as part of the main scenario, try using the trust system instead. This allows you to do the dungeon with NPCs from the story and experience the dungeon authentically without a guide. If you still want to watch, let's get started. This dungeon is broken up into 3 bosses with trash in between, the usual. To skip to a specific boss, please use the timestamps in the description of the video. For trash pulls, Holminster's first few hit pretty hard. It's all enemies you've encountered variants of before, but I'd recommend taking it easy on the first few trash packs unless your party has some experience with them. Trusts especially like to get caught in the narrow corridors and get hit by AoEs by the last 2 mobs in the first half. After you clear out some wildlife, we move on to the first boss. Forgiven Dissonance is the first boss, and it's mostly a test about dodging AoEs. Path of Light is room-wide damage, and Pillory is a tank buster, but other than that, you just have to watch out for Brazen Bull. Every time the boss casts Brazen Bull, they will do a set sequence of AoEs. This isn't anything too special, and the patterns the boss uses with each cast are the same every time you do the dungeon. The third pattern sees the boss going back and forth across the room with alternating line AoEs and a large conal AoE after it dashes to each side. This is all basic stuff, so just dodge AoEs, there's a few Path of Lights and a Pillory between each Brazen Bull, and you're good with the first boss. The trash leading up to the second boss is mostly standard, except for those damn gremlins. They cast a slow on the tank, makes them attack slower. Please focus them down and get some Asunas on those poor tanks. Other than that, it should all be easy. On to boss number 2. Boss number 2 is Tesleen the Forgiven. Tickler, and I'm serious, is the tank buster, and Scold's Bridle is a room-wide AoE. Other than that, she alternates between 2 attack patterns. The first will mark each player with a number of dots over their head, between 1 and 4 of them. Tesleen will do a line AoE dash towards each player in the order that they are marked, starting with the player with 1 dot, then moving to 2, then to 3, and finally the one with 4. Just make sure players don't aim dashes at each other. Trusts actually teach a really basic formation for this, as you will see. The second pattern is a split damage AoE with 4 placed AoEs around the arena at the same time. Trusts stack in the center of the room for this, but so long as the party stacks and avoids the other AoEs, this is cake. The boss will alternate between those 2 patterns with some damage in between, and you're done. The trash leading up to the final boss will come at you in 4 waves. Once you defeat the first pack you run into, sets of adds will hatch one at a time as you dispatch them. There are no big pulls here, just kill them as they appear and go fight the final boss. The final boss is the Light Warden Philia. This boss has a variety of attacks that are simple enough to deal with. Head Crusher is a tank buster, and Scavenger's Daughter is the room-wide AoE. Pendulum will have the boss jump at the tank with a proximity AoE, and then immediately jump back to the center with another proximity. Just stay away from the tank and the center if you're not the tank, and all is fine. After this, the boss will lock a player in a chain and aim a channeled AoE in their direction. DPS the chain to free the player and stay out of the AoE as long as it is channeled. After the channeled AoE, the boss will use left and right knout. This hits in a 225 degree AoE on the side of the boss with its arm up. After doing the first swing, Philia will perform the opposite one right after. If you get hit, it flanks you to the front of the boss, stuns you for a few seconds, and gives you a vuln up, so get away from which side has its arm raised. After the nouts, the boss will use Taphophobia and Into the Light. Taphophobia is a spread damage marker on all players, so stay away from each other, and Into the Light is a split damage line AoE, so have everyone line up to reduce the damage. After Pendulum number 2, the boss will use Fierce Beating. This performs an alternating set of AoEs as the boss rotates. The first is a set of gradual AoEs in front of the boss, the second is a large AoE behind the boss. On top of this, you can't move through the boss's hitbox during this as there's an AoE under their body. Basically, get to the boss's flanks and rotate as it rotates. Which flank doesn't really matter, but trusts certainly prefer the side away from the direction the boss is rotating with his front. After Fierce Beating is an Into the Light to split, left and right nouts, and finally another chain to break. Once you've gotten through this onslaught, the fight is on repeat until you win. Good job. And that's a wrap for my guide to the Holminster Switch. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned. We'll be doing guides for pretty much everything going into Shadowbringers. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.